What's up? How is it going, people? It's been a while. First off, I want to point out that I'm working with a new camera here, so it might look a little different, and I might look a little different. Probably a bad way. HD. Don't need to be all up in this. Okay, where were we? Wiring, part 2. We have a lot to cover in this video. In the last one, we kind of left off with, I basically just got the battery installed, batteries and the trim pump, because the whole issue that I explained in the last one. So in this one, we're gonna pick up where we left off. And that is a long list here. So some of this stuff I kind of got done off camera, some of it I filmed, so bear with me. It's all pretty self-explanatory. So let's see, we got crimp terminals on the existing harness. Some of them were kind of rotted and gross, so just clipped them off and put some new heat shrink terminals on. I put some flex sleeve on that harness just to protect it and make it look a little nicer, honestly, because I had it. I did mount the battery switch finally, so that's done, installed. I ran these speaker wires for the 2 rear speakers. Since I already got the holes cut out for where those go, I was positive where the wires had to go for that. So those are there and ready for the speakers to go in. The front 2 speakers, I'm not going to be putting back where they originally were. So they were basically underneath either port and starboard side, kind of where the 2 chairs were, which means if you're in the bow of the boat, you can't really hear anything. So I'm actually going to move those kind of facing each other. Sorry, hands down here, doing the off-screen stuff. So I'm going to make them basically facing each other, kind of in the little walkway that goes between the back of the boat and the bow. So if you're on either side, you'll kind of get the speaker facing you in the bow area. So I think it'll be a good solution. And it also makes my reupholstery a little bit easier on those panels that they used to be mounted in. I got the power and ground wire run to the fuse box, and I wired up the amplifier. I ran the wire to the fuel sender, and I put new terminals on for the new bilge pump. So I also need to get the new bilge pump installed. So that's kind of my long laundry list of stuff that needs to get covered or did get covered in this video. So that just gives you an idea where I'm at. And once all that stuff's done, the wiring is essentially going to be done, aside from a little bit of hopefully no troubleshooting, but as long as everything works out, the wiring should be pretty much done after this video. The only exception to that is I'm thinking about installing a battery charger, like a trickle charger, just permanently mounted in the boat, but that's pretty easy. So, all right, so let's get out on the boat. All right, guys. So, just to recap what we just looked at, if you noticed in some of those clips, every time I was putting in a screw or drilling a hole and then putting in a screw or a through bolt, you kind of see me go in there with a little tube of something. That is 3M 5200. Ideally, if it was something I was very concerned about, I would what they call a drill fill drill, or you actually drill an oversized hole, fill it with thickened resin, and then drill another hole that's smaller on the inside, which is the finished hole that you need. But these are just kind of like seat backs and stuff like that, so nothing structural was getting drilled into or screwed into, so I just pre-drilled if I needed and then squirted some 5200 in there to help seal the screw. I think it'll be good. Let's see, what else did we show? The new bilge pump, I got that off Amazon. It's got an automatic float switch built in. My last one that I had in the boat when I bought it was one of those Johnson cartridge pumps with like the replaceable cartridge. I could have gone that route, but I didn't want to because I would still be without a float switch and I would have had to buy a separate one. So I ended up just buying one that has the integral float switch built into the base. So it actually has 3 wires. There's a power, a ground, and then there's one that goes to the override, I guess you would call it, switch at the helm. So I have at my helm, there's a little button for the bilge pump. So that wire goes there, the other one goes to ground, and the third one just goes right to my distribution block, so it's got constant power as long as the battery switch is in the on position. I may go back and terminate that right to the battery, so it's got 12 volts no matter what position the battery switch is in, but I don't really leave my boat overnight anywhere in the water, so I don't really see much of a reason for that, but I know it probably doesn't make sense to have it going to the terminal block. So I did get the 2 rear speakers installed. There's some 6x9 Kenwood, I think, speakers that I got years ago when I bought the boat. Just kind of planned ahead and got them online, and they've been sitting ever since. So got the holes cut out a long time ago, but I was waiting till the paint and all the kind of final stuff to get those in. So I figured it'd be just kind of fun to put those in. It's kind of the first like finishing touch kind of thing going into the boat before the upholstery and stuff like that. So I didn't really need to put them in now, but it just kind of felt cool to get something in there that feels like it's getting towards a finished boat. I didn't show it, but the head unit is mounted and basically, not mounted in the boat, but mounted in the holder that goes in the dash, and that's ready to go basically once I get the front 2 speakers installed. So once those are in, I'll get those speakers wired up, and then the head unit's basically ready to go, and I'll install it into the dash and be done with that. So a lot of the harness that you kind of saw me working on in some of those clips was mainly the Bayliner factory harness that went back from the helm under the gunnels back to the bilge area, and they go to the bilge pump, the blower fan, and the fuel sending unit for the gauge. So I did wire up the fuel sending unit and the bilge pump obviously, but the fan's ready to go. I have it. And I ordered a new vent fan hose to replace the old one because it's pretty brittle and crumbly, so I got a new one of those. But I'm going to wait to put those in until I'm 100% kind of done in the engine area, just because it gets in the way. The hose is 4 inches in diameter and kind of runs down underneath the motor and stuff, so I could see that getting in the way, and it's only going to take me probably 30 minutes or half hour or so to install it once I'm ready. So the wires are already there, the terminal's already connected, so I basically just got to put 2 screws in and plug it in and I'm done. So, but the purpose of me showing that harness was basically me getting all those terminals ready and installed, and also some wire ties and kind of just cable management to tidy up that harness. Oh, I didn't show this, but I did finally figure out where the trim sender unit wires go. When I first started on the wiring, I plugged in the trim limit because that goes right to where the trim pump is. But the trim sending wires, I could not for the life of me figure out where they went. I was kind of rooting around in there today looking at some stuff and came across 2 leads that I'm pretty sure are it. So I need to double check the wiring layout tonight for Mercruiser to make sure I got the right ones, but it's got to be right because it's the only ones left that it could plug into. So to be honest with you, I got to go over this thing like tooth and nail before I try and fire up the motor and everything, because I keep finding stuff that I'm like, oh, I'll remember to do that later, and I never did. So like for example, there's big brass plugs in the exhaust risers that came with the new risers, and I never put Teflon tape on them, so I never threaded them in the whole way, so they're just kind of sitting there like started, but I can only imagine it goes start up the motor and exhaust water and air starts shooting out of there. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that I need to just go through and triple check to make sure it's good. But all right, well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you like the new camera. I saw some of the clips I shot earlier today while doing some editing, and I like the look of it. It looks like a higher quality image than compared to what I was doing before, which is basically shooting on my smartphones. I've had a DSLR for quite a while. I was into photography for a while, and unfortunately I wasn't using it much anymore just because time and kids and family and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like I should be using it more, but bad Father of the Year award. So I really wanted to get a new one so I could utilize it for videography, because the one I had before was a Canon 7D, which it's actually a really nice DSLR camera when it came out, but it was kind of right before Canon and some of the other companies started getting into the more video-oriented DSLR cameras. So it basically had a totally useless autofocus in video mode. Had a great picture autofocus, really quick and fast and sharp, but as soon as you switched it over to video, it was pointless. You couldn't focus during live, it wouldn't autofocus during live video, so it was basically useless. So I finally got around to trading that camera in and upgrading to a Canon 80D, which is what I'm shooting on now, which for anybody that cares, it shoots 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is kind of nice. So if you noticed, I kind of experimented with some slow motion kind of stuff. For right now, this will have to do. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and the next video should finally be on reupholstery stuff, so I apologize for those of you that are waiting on that, but kind of just wanted to get the stuff out of the way. And like I said, I was waiting on some things before I made some final decisions on the reupholstery itself. Now that we have what we need for that, we're gonna get going on it. So again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below so you know when I come out with a new video, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.